Gentlemen. How you doing, man?
Can you update your health status?
I had surgery January 23rd, unfortunately on my birthday. Yesterday was 5 weeks out. I go back to the doctor on the 8th. Hopefully the doctor releases me to do exercises where I can start training and getting ready for pro day.
What has that been like for you to kind of be in this holding pattern?
Being where?
To be kind of stuck in limbo, not be able to work out.
I mean, I understand it's a process, and unfortunately it didn't go as planned for me, but at the same time, hopefully I still get a shot to show off my talents, and it is what it is.
When is your pro day?
March 20th.
And who's your agent?
Andrew Sims.
How is playing in Georgia prepared you for the NFL?
I feel like Georgia has prepared me a lot for the NFL, mainly practice, going up against our great offensive line, and Coach Smart being in everybody's face each and every day and just wanting the best from everybody.
Really for this, how much time do you spend on preparing your antics for interviews and terms of meeting with teams and that sort of thing?
Up until this week, I've been preparing like almost every day, sitting down on the telephone, having different interviews, meeting with guys. Former GMs I've reached out to, and we had conversations on what questions to expect, how to handle those questions, and
How did you know those former GMs and your agent set that up?
Yes, my agent reached out to me. He knew guys that he sent all his players to, and that's how it happened.
D'Andre, you mentioned interviews. I know you've done a couple radio interviews. There was one that was edited a little bit on a question on Jake Fromm. Can you just elaborate on your thoughts on Jake Fromm and Justin Fields now with everybody here to record everything?
Yeah. I just feel like both guys were great players, and they both came to practice each day willing to work hard and gave it their all. That's all I was trying to get across. It was my words got kind of misconstrued, but like I said, I just think both guys came to practice each day working hard and was determined for a starting job. So.
D'Andre, watching you on film, you did a lot of things at Georgia. You did a lot of things well. What do you think you do best? Like, what's your best role moving forward in the NFL?
I feel like I'm a great run stopper on first and second down. Without first and second, if you don't stop them on first and second down, then there is no third down. So I always felt like I was a great pass rusher as well. So I feel like I'm an every down player.
D'Andre, you were having an MVP type of game against Alabama. I think you went out with 6 minutes left. Georgia was up by a touchdown or 2 touchdowns. Just your thoughts on I don't know, have you played the what-if game? Had you not gone out in that game?
I thought about it a lot, and I just wish that I could have finished the game, and it would have turned out in our favor.
What's the craziest question you've gotten this week from a team?
Honestly, I haven't received any crazy questions because I'm not a crazy guy. I don't have any bad background or history, so I haven't received one yet. I still have one more night, but I feel like I'll be able to handle it if it was to come up.
Have you met with the Falcons at all?
How I met with the Falcons? I've an informal interview with them, yes. Walking through just walking through, and he reached out to me and we talked.
You know where the rest is?
I think you said that the rehab didn't go exactly as planned. What happened?
Just to answer your question, I have met with the Redskins, and no, I didn't say it didn't go as planned. I meant like the whole process, like not being able to play in the Rising Senior Bowl, the Sugar Bowl.
D'Andre, do you have a favorite pass rush move or combination you like to use?
I like to use speed to power. When I say speed to power, I like my long arm stab and with a chop dip rip. If his shoulder doesn't open up immediately, I like to go to a chop dip rip.
Who's the toughest opponent you faced in terms of offensive linemen this season?
I would have to say Andrew Thomas. I was left tackle at the University of Georgia.
What about an opposing team?
Opposing team, I can't think of any guys off the top of my head.
Going back to that, can you tell me a little bit about going to practice every day with guys like that, and like how that's kind of...
I feel like going to practice with guys like Andrew Thomas and guys at the University of Georgia. Each day, everybody brings their all and making sure that they're working hard, and it's a competitive atmosphere. That's how Coach Smart make it, and that's how all the guys in the locker room likes it.
You look a lot bigger than last time I saw you. You put on some muscle?
I would like to say I have put on some muscle, but I haven't been working out, so I'm not sure. I haven't really gained too much weight either. I haven't really gained too much weight either, so maybe I'm just growing up, I guess.
Now, when you came to Georgia, though, you were kind of slight build. How much bigger are you now than when you first showed up?
When I first showed up to the University of Georgia, I was probably like 210. Each year I gained 10 pounds, and that was pretty amazing to me, I guess. I wasn't expecting it.
You played for Dan Lanning. What type of person is he? He's a bit of a mystery to us on the outside.
For real, Coach Lanning is an amazing guy, very energetic, passionate about what he does. And each day in the meet room, he try to bring something different to the guys and face them with a challenge to take out on practice. And he's a great guy.
Yeah, I cover Ohio State, so there's a lot of interest in Justin Fields. What should Ohio State fans know about Justin?
I feel like each day he'll come giving his all each day at practice.
How talented is he?
I'm sorry?
How talented is he?
He's a great quarterback.
What gave Jake the edge in your mind? I mean, you obviously practiced against Jake and know Fromm really well. Why did the staff pick him ahead of Justin Fields, do you think?
I mean, I feel like he took us to a SEC championship, international championship. He was the starting quarterback coming in, and he kind of knew he had the playbook down pat. So, I mean, it wasn't no point in, I don't know, that's pretty much why.
D'Andre, if you had to take one of your games and show it to these NFL coaches, which game would it be?
I would like to use Auburn from the SEC championship last year.
Is there any game you wouldn't want them to watch?
Not really. They can watch them all. I feel like I got great things from every game that I played, and of course I'm not a great player overall, so I have my flaws, and I own up to it and tell them what I learned from them and how would I go further on in the future and not let the same mistakes hold me back.
So then what do you need to work on before you get there?
I feel like dropping back into coverage. I have on film where I've shown I could do it and I did it good, but I know I'm not doing it to the best of my ability right now, and that's what I plan to focus on to keep getting better at.
We all know about J.R. Reed and some of the stars that played on that defense last year that are going back. Who's coming up, though? Who's the next big thing at Georgia on that defense?
I feel like everybody on the defense has to step up, and I think everybody on the defense will step up and emerge to become great players for the university.
So is there one young guy in particular that you're most excited to see next year?
Like I said, all of them on defense.
Who are some of the outside linebackers, just the guys that you know from your room that you've taught and mentored that are going to be competing for those jobs?
Brenton Cox, Robert Bill, Adam Anderson. Adam Anderson he reminds me a lot of myself when I came in. Small and a great pass rusher, speed guy. And then I feel like we also have another great outside linebacker coming in from junior college named Jermaine Johnson. So I feel like that room it got a lot more talent coming in, and it's going to push everybody to work hard, and everybody will get better.
Have you seen Johnson? I've heard he's, from a physical standpoint,
Yes,
what
sir.
did you...
I mean, he's huge. Him and Nolan Smith are both huge, but like I said, I feel like everybody in the outside linebacker will have a great chance to play, and hopefully you see all of them out there.
Talk a little bit about Coach Sinclair and the strength staff and how they prepared you for this moment.
Coach Sinclair, I mean, he just makes sure everybody is accountable and comes in each day working hard, and he's very passionate about what he does. He loves his job, and I mean, as a coach, I would love for him to be my coach. I would love for him to be my strength coach throughout my whole career. He's just an amazing guy. He knows what he's talking about and knows what he's doing.
What's been the most surprising thing you've experienced so far this week that you didn't expect?
That I didn't expect. There wasn't really too much anything that I really wasn't expecting. Like I said earlier, I'm not a bad guy, so I don't have anything bad for the coaches to kind of beat me down about or come at me for. So.
Did you talk to any of the guys that you used to play with in Georgia before you got here?
I talked to Roquan Smith, mainly because he was in town when I was in town doing my rehab, and he just told me, be yourself, be honest, and make sure you understand the playbook, because they will get you up on the board and ask you to draw up certain plays, and he helped me out a lot as well.
What do you think makes Georgia a different program than the other programs in Georgia?
Just the way we practice every day. We go out to practice with determining and trying to compete every day and get better each and every day.
When you get to your pro day, do you have any numbers you want to put up? Any lifts or speed?
No, sir. No, sir.
No goals?
I mean, not right now. I haven't been released to do anything, so I haven't really thought of anything. I don't know where I'm at right now at a standpoint to really just say goals, make goals for myself. I'm pretty sure later on in the future, in a few days from now I will, but right now I don't.
Was the surgery, did that have Was it because of the injury in the game, or did you re-injure yourself during the rehab as you were getting ready for Senior Bowl?
No, I think it happened in the SEC. It happened in the SEC championship.
DeAndre, I know you've said you can play inside linebacker, and is that more of a I can do it in a versatility, or can you make the big jump full time?
Well, me personally, I feel like I can play any position on the field, but to be honest, more so like versatility, not just to become a middle linebacker in the NFL, but I feel like I can line up at it and blitz from that position over a guard and put stress on the guard. So that's why I said.
Ledbetter was talking about how the second half of the season they started turning you guys loose a little bit more with the pressures. How much of a difference was there, and what triggered that for them to finally start letting guys blitz?
I mean, I feel like the whole season we were blitzing. In my opinion, I feel like that would be a better question for Ledbetter to answer.
Is it just different for different spots, maybe, as far as where they're bringing the pressures from?
Possibly.
You got hurt in that last game. You're putting up some pretty good numbers. Do you look back at that? I know you missed any game, but you were putting together a dream game, don't you think?
I mean, I wish we could get the game back, but at the same time, I feel like everybody in the program learned from it and understands that we have to come out ready to play the whole night.
What has to happen for Georgia to beat Alabama on that stage? I mean, you got close. You guys led or were tied most of those games. What's the final push, do you think?
Go back to practicing very hard each and every day and make sure it's going to be a grind every day. And leading up to that point, you just got to go out to practice and practice. Coach Smart, I feel like Coach Smart will make sure everybody goes out to practice and be ready to practice up until that next moment.
What's your best memory for playing at Georgia?
I have a few of those.
I'll give a couple then.
My best memory, one jumping over the shield at Auburn and coming back to the sideline and Coach Smart ripping me for it. And then in the SEC championship against Auburn, we beat them after they beat us the first time. And I did a spin move, and it was supposed to be just a step, but I spent. And Coach Smart said, don't do that ever again, but if it worked, like he basically was congratulating me for doing it, but then told me not to do it ever again. But
so you got chewed out, but congratulations.
Yes.
What is the players that are going to be seniors that will be doing next year in the draft that we should keep an eye on that might not be on the team?
J.R. Smith. I think all the seniors, pretty much all the seniors will have a shot to come here and show off their talents.
What would you say is a self-scouting report of your school? Your greatest strengths as well as
I feel like I'm an every down player. On first, second, I can stop the run. Third down, I feel like I'm a great pass rusher. One of my weaknesses or something that I can work on is my dropping back into coverage and covering tight ends. I have film of me doing it, but I feel like I can get better at it.
Formal schedule with Pittsburgh by any chance?
I'm not sure. I have to look later on.
What would be a successful draft for you?
I don't want to put any restrictions on myself or no numbers. As long as I get an opportunity to play in the NFL, it's great for me.
How has Georgia prepared for the NFL? I know that you was part of the practices in the NFL, but what else has Georgia done to help you?
Our conditioning program is also amazing as well, and practice. What kind of play caller is Mel Tucker? I feel like Colorado is getting a great head coach and a guy that's passionate about the game and understands the job, and he wants everybody to be successful in the program.
When did you realize you could make it this far?
I'm sorry?
How old were you when you realized you could make it this far?
I feel like it started with me playing at the age of 9 years old in the neighborhood with guys that were way older than me. And I didn't play my first organized football game until the age of 13. So it was.
So middle school is when you first played?
Yes.
And then did the coaches Langston Hughes tell you that you had that ability?
It's crazy. When I first got my offer, I didn't know what it was, and it was on from there. But yes, they did let me realize that I could play in the NFL. They told me that.
What do you think the biggest difference with the Georgia defense will be in 2019 from your unit 2018?
I'm sorry, can you ask the question again?
Just maybe the biggest difference in how the Georgia defense looks versus what you guys were able to do in 2018, the changes?
I don't feel like it'll change up too much because they have a nice amount of guys coming back to play on defense and a bunch of young guys that's hungry and determined. So determined, I don't think it'll change too much.
What about Jordan Davis? Can you comment on him? You played a lot with that young guy this year.
Jordan Davis is a funny guy. It's like he's a small kid in a big guy's shoes. But I mean, he's an amazing kid, and like I said, he stepped in and played early for us, and he understands what his job is and what he has to do to continue to get better.
What do you see in his future?
I think he'll be a great player for the University of Georgia.
You played behind Lorenzo Carter, Davin Bellamy. Both those guys kind of mentored you, learned a little bit from both of them. Which one are you more like?
I played behind a bunch of guys at the University of Georgia, not just those two. Also considering Leonard Floyd and Jordan Jenkins, I feel like I learned a lot from all of those guys. Now, still to this day, we all communicate, and they're great. They're a great group of guys to grow up with, and I was glad that I was able to come up with those guys.
Who do you play like the most?
I feel like I play more so like Leonard Floyd.
Have you spoken to him recently?
I have.
What did he tell you about this process?
Oh, I haven't talked to him about the process. I mean, I just reach out to him every night. Like, I haven't talked to him about the process.
D'Andre, you dressed out for the Sugar Bowl, even though you didn't play. Did you know you weren't going to be able to play, and if so, why did you still put the pads on?
At the moment, I didn't know that I wasn't going to be able to play coming into that week. Later on in what day did we have walkthroughs on? I think it was like when we do our Friday walkthroughs
Saturday
and whatnot.
Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
still wasn't moving full speed, and then at that point, I knew I wasn't.
So you were hopeful that you were just going to be able to move that
Yes.
day, and how tough was it to stand there on the sideline during that game?
I mean, it was a hard decision for me to make, but at the same time, I didn't feel 100%, and I didn't want to go out there and hurt myself anymore. And it was tough, but I feel like it was the right decision to make.
Well, I was going to say, when you found out you needed surgery, did you kind of give yourself a little bit of a break for holding out in that game when you realized that the injury was that bad?
I mean, I wouldn't say give myself a pat on the back, but I mean, it was just glad to get the surgery and get it set up so it can get taken care of.
Have you set anything up with the Steelers at all?
No, sir, not that I'm aware of.
When they bring up on social media, they say, it's not like
anything else for D'Andre? How about Green Bay?
I'm sorry?
Green Bay?
Yes, I have talked to Green Bay.
Informal.
Is there much of a difference between Schumann and Lanning, just their personalities? How would you describe them?
Coach Schumann come to practice every day with a loan, with sweats on, and Coach Lanning doesn't. But they both know the plays. They both are great coaches, and they both understand what Coach Smart wants to be done in their program. So I wish them the best of luck.
Good.